Hello, Saturday Works mentors. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Well, we're still in that performing arts phase, so we've got some cool activities outlined for you today. They're really fun. A lot of it's very creative, and as you know, it's an arts magnet school, so your Saturday kids should probably really enjoy these activities because they are a lot of fun. I wish I was going to be there with you guys. So this one has a spin. This one is a lot of acting out. There's a whole fairy tale thing in this one coming up, but it's really cool. But before we go there, let's talk about the word of the day. Our word of the day for this Saturday is kindness. Kindness, what a great word. So hopefully as the kids are doing some of these challenging performing arts activities, they really think about how they're being kind to each other, or those acts of kindness, and then maybe you and your team can come up with a really cool tweet to send to the world about kindness. So that's your word of the day, is kindness. Now, your question of the day is, would you rather be able to overhear any conversation or be able to take back anything that you regret saying? That's really a good one. They're probably going to want to overhear conversations. But again, your question of the day is, would you rather be able to overhear any conversation or be able to take back anything that you regret saying? All right? So just something that, get to know your kids and talk about something a little deeper before you break into the fun. But that's a good question. I wonder what you would say, right? I think I'd want to take back something that I've regretted saying. But that's your question of the day. All right, your first activity is called Living Picture. Pretty self-explanatory if you think about it. It's a real life picture, right? Not a real photograph, but a real life picture. So Living Picture, your students will one at a time transform into a picture. So this is how it happens. So let's say your kids are all sitting in a group. One will get up, and then when that one gets up, they start the living picture. Let's say I'm the first one to get up. I'll get up and I'll say, okay, you guys, I'm a bench. And I'd sit down like a bench. All right, the next person might come by and say, okay, I'm a tree. And so then now we got the bench and we got the tree. And so on and so on and so on. And so they're building this, living picture. All right, and then Kawana will come around and take pictures. We want to take pictures. But let's see, you guys challenge Kawana. Let's see if she can guess what your picture is. But that's it in a nutshell. It's a living picture. It's kind of like a pantomiming kind of activity. All right? The next one is fairy tale charades. So I'm sure we've all played charades and all different kind of versions of charades. Well, this one is called fairy tale charades. And pretty simply, you'll have two students come up. They'll pull out of a bag a fairy tale clue, and then they have to, act it out and have the rest of the team guess what it is. So we've got all kinds of cool fairy tale charades clues. Like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Imagine two students trying to do Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That'll probably be very funny. Beauty and the Beast, that's probably easy for a duet. Cinderella, that might be a little challenging when there was three sisters. Little Red Riding Hood, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, The Three Little Pigs, another one, that'd be interesting. But anyway, so that's really what it is. Fairy tale charade. Two students at a time will come up to a clue bag. They'll pick a clue and then act it out in front of their friends. All right? So, sounds like fun so far? I hope so. I'm telling you, I wish I was there. All right, I am walking is the next activity. I am walking. I am walking. You're going to break your group up to the 3 or 4 groups. Again, 3 or 4 groups. They'll do these, the I am walking scenes in their own group. But what they're going to do, again, we'll have a bag, and we'll have some clues in that bag. Or not clues, or scenes or statements. It's always going to start off with I am walking, right? I am walking, and then we'll have the rest of the sentence that they're going to pull out of a bag. So they'll pull those prompts out of the bag, and it'll start with I am walking, as I said, and then they'll create a scene without talking. They can't make sound effects, and they can use props. So again, silence is golden in this one, but if they're a car, they can go beep beep, or if they want to have a prop or whatever and pull out a prop, a book, a pen, or whatever they might have on them. All right. So they'll break up into these groups. They'll pull the scene prompts. Everyone starts with I am walking, and here's some examples. They'll pull from the bag. I am walking through a blinding snowstorm, looking for a lost child. All right. So that's what they have to act out without talking. They can make noises or use props. Right? Here's another one. I am walking to school on a cool late fall morning. I am walking down a dark alley looking for an escaped prisoner. hopefully that's a scary one. But anyway, those are the I am walking scenes. So again, break them up into their groups, they'll pull a scene, they'll read their scene out loud, and then, well, not out loud, not to the whole group, but to whoever's on the team, and then they'll act it out, and then the rest of the team is going to try to guess. All right, so pretty simply, that is I am walking. And last but not least is fairy tale parody. Fairy tale parody is really good. I don't know if you guys watch Grimm or Once Upon a Time, but anyway, those are the more elaborate, maybe even darker, or little twists on the well-known fairy tales that we grew up with. But that's what fairy tale parody is all about at the end of the day. So we're gonna have a list of fairy tales for you. And then pretty much your students are going to choose a fairy tale. And if they don't want to use one from the list, that's fine. They can come up with their own. But you first will start a discussion about fairy tales. And let's say it's Cinderella. Maybe you go around the room and see if there's different versions of Cinderella. Maybe you have all your kids, repeat or say their version of Cinderella. Believe it or not, culturally, there are even some different versions of Cinderella. And after you do that, then you guys are then going to want to pick a real story, all right, one of the real fairy tales that you guys want to work on. And just a little interesting tidbit, I keep talking about Cinderella, but did you know Cinderella was written 1,000 years ago in the 1st century in Egypt? So it came from, everything comes from Egypt. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, the first Cinderella came from Egypt about 1,000 years ago, and there's been over 1,000 versions of it. So I never knew, I only knew of one. So you learn something every day, as they say. All right, so once they choose their story, now what you're going to have the kids do is rewrite it, reinvent the Cinderella story, put their own spin on it. We're going to give you some different versions of Cinderella that you can read to your students, and I encourage you to maybe read one or two. Like we have a Native American Cinderella story, and then we have a Germany version written by Brothers Grimm of the Cinderella story. So read it just to get them going, get the thoughts going, right? And then once you've done reading it, you're through reading it with the kids, then come up with your own. So you guys are going to write your new version of the Cinderella story. After you guys have written your new version with the new characters and a new cool spin on it, and then pretty much you're going to act it out. You're going to create your scenery, props, and costumes. So we're going to give you all kinds of materials to use: butcher paper, markers, paint, construction paper, glue, tape, scissors, yarn, material for costumes, and so on and so forth. So once they come up with their new version of Cinderella, they can come up with a little scene with characters and costumes, and then perform it for the larger group. Their new version of Cinderella. So have fun with it. There's a lot of room here for creativity and thinking out of the box and using those big imaginations the kids have. Should be a lot of fun. And that's about it. So don't forget your word of the day: kindness. This is a lot of acting and just talking and being creative. So get into it with your kids. Be a part of it. Maybe one of you can be Cinderella. Hopefully not one of the stepsisters. That's about it. Have a good time. Remember to focus on those relationships. And it's Will signing out.